Good evening and welcome to our weekly news programme. It's Saturday the 4th of February and it's just past 6 o'clock. And in the news this week, coronavirus, chickenpox and scarlet fever were among the most commonly viewed conditions on the NHS website in 2022. A 2022 top 10 list compiled by NHS Digital shows the most popular pages are related to coronavirus, with 16.3 million visits to advice on COVID-19 symptoms, testing and self-care, followed by 4.3 million clicks on long COVID. High blood pressure was the third most visited condition, attracting 3.8 million views, while scarlet fever, chickenpox and monkeypox all saw big increases in visits compared with 2021. Visits to the chickenpox page more than doubled in 2022 to become the fourth most visited condition, with 3.7 million visits against 1.7 million the previous year. Scarlet fever was the seventh most visited page with 3 million visits in 2022, 7 times the amount that it was in 2021. Now, looking at the top 5 then: coronavirus, long COVID, high blood pressure, chickenpox, attentive deficit hyperactivity disorder, ADHD there, coming in at number 5. Now, the NHS website, which is managed by NHS Digital, is the UK's biggest health website with an estimated 2.6 million visits a day in 2022 from people seeking information and advice. It includes over 4,000 pages of information and provides information on about 990 medical conditions. I'm sure some of you will have visited that website once or twice. We certainly have in this household. Now, homeless strays, unexpected kittens, abandoned pets and much-loved moggies are just some of the cats that pass through Weymouth Cats Protections Care. Now help is needed to keep up with demand. Volunteer Gloria Ashwell, who runs the Weymouth branch of the national charity, has noticed an increase in cats being given up for financial reasons over the past year and is expanding the provision for local cats to cope with the expected demand. In the past year, 20% of cats who arrived at the branch's care were given up for financial reasons, a steep rise compared to 8% in the previous 5 years. Gloria says, "We've seen that people are really starting to struggle since the cost of living crisis began, and not only are people finding it increasingly difficult to cover day-to-day costs, but also vet care. So cats are arriving in need of more treatment than before." That's obviously they're treated before they go to any new homes. "We therefore need help, especially from anyone with cat welfare expertise, which will enable us to support and rehome more local cats." Now, despite the increase in cats being given up because their owners can no longer afford them, stray cats still account for the majority needing new homes via the local branch. One recent admission was 15-year-old Jiminy, who you can see on the screen, who had been living in the garden of a neighbour for 3 years since his owner died, with only a plastic igloo for shelter. The situation for Jiminy was becoming desperate as advanced age, freezing weather and an irregular supply of food were beginning to take their toll on him. He was walking stiffly and rapidly losing weight. Now, to help more cats like Jiminy, Gloria is seeking volunteers to join her and her fellow branch members and is keen to hear from anyone with an interest in helping local felines. Gloria is looking for welfare team leaders to support and nurture the fosterers, and she's looking for fosterers who have a background in looking after cats as well in their own home until a new owner can be found. Now, if you'd like to be a welfare team member or leader to help support those who foster cats, or you'd like to be a fosterer, Gloria would like to hear from you. You can find out more about the branch and its work at www.cats.org.uk/West-Dorset, or you can give Gloria a call about those opportunities and helping her. And I've only got half the number. I'll tell you what, I will put the number up in Facebook after the programme because I've cut the number off. I've only got the 3 characters here, so I do apologise, but do go to that website, www.cats.org.uk www.west-dorset, and we will stick it up on the Wyke Regis TV Facebook page after this programme. Now, a creative festival called Shakespeare by the Sea is coming to Weymouth. The Shakespeare by the Sea Festival will see children from local Dorset schools performing in Shakespeare's works at the Pavilion in Weymouth. The festival, now in its second year, will feature youngsters performing shortened versions of Macbeth and A Midsummer Night's Dream to a live audience on Wednesday, February the 8th. That's this coming Wednesday. The event is organised by Wyke resident Gary Spracklin, who's head teacher at the Prince of Wales School in Dorset, and he explains, "This is a unique event that will again create lifetime memories for South Dorset school children. This will be the second time the event will be held." Gary goes on to say, in total more than 65 children are taking part in this year's festival from across Weymouth and Dorset. The event promises to be a spectacular celebration of creativity, and we warmly welcome everyone to cheer the children on for what, for many of them, will be their first time on a professional stage. Cast from St John's Primary School in Weymouth and the Prince of Wales School in Dorset are already deep in rehearsals for the event. Tickets for the festival are available now via the Weymouth Pavilion box office, both online and on the usual telephone number, which we will give you towards the end of the programme. And if you're interested in sponsoring this week's performances, there are still opportunities available. You can email Gary at headteacher@princeofwales.dorset.sch.uk. A teddy bear's picnic a quiz night is being held by supporters of popular Weymouth Seaside Gardens. On Friday, March the 10th, the Friends of Greenhill Gardens are hosting a quiz at the Preston Village Hall beginning at 7:30 p.m. This fun night for all will include subject and picture rounds and a joker card to double your points. Those taking part are encouraged to bring their own teddies or come dressed as a teddy, they say you can use your imagination on that as well. Tickets cost £12 to include a picnic box supper. A bar will be available on the night as well. Teams of up to 6 people can take part. Tickets can be bought from Jane Chandler by emailing janechandler123@hotmail.com. That's janechandler123@hotmail.com, or by telephone on 01305 775829 01305 5829. And for more information on the work of the Friends of Greenhill Gardens, who look after the gardens, see their website at www.greenhill-gardens.co.uk. Now, Connaught Road in Weymouth, near to Holy Trinity Primary School, is to be closed from Monday the 13th of February through to Friday the 17th of February. That's not this week, it's the following week. The roadworks are aimed to make the route safer for those walking to school, more accessible for wheelchair users, and easier for the community to access local community facilities. Buxton Road will also have two-way traffic lights at its junction with Connaught Road, as will Cross Road at the opposite end. A Dorset Council spokesperson has said, "We will be working on Connaught Road to provide a safe walking route to school and community facilities, and for wheelchair users and people with mobility issues. To minimise disruption, we plan to carry out the work in 2 phases during school holidays, with the first phase taking place week commencing the 13th of February. Works will involve widening sections of the footway around the trees and curb realignment at the Buxton Road junction to further facilitate accessibility to the Connaught Road footways. Connaught Road and Down Road will also be resurfaced as part of the works. The trees will not be removed as they are protected under Connaught Road's conservation status." Now, follow-up work will also be carried out over the Easter holidays as phase 2 of this work, and more details on that will follow nearer the time. The future of Portland Hospital is to be discussed at a public meeting on Wednesday this week, and residents are encouraged to go along. A public listening event about local healthcare services has been called by Portland Hospital Development Group and is being held at Eastern Methodist Church Hall on Wednesday, February the 8th from 7 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. Local healthcare bosses will be in attendance, and organisers say it's an important opportunity for leaders to hear from residents about their experiences accessing and using public services with a particular focus on healthcare. Questions can be submitted in advance by contacting Island Community Action, and I'll give you their contact details in a minute. As well as Portland Hospital, questions are welcomed on topics including local pharmacy services, dentistry and general healthcare services relevant to the people living on the island, as well as in Wyke, Regis. Excuse me. At the event will be Patricia Miller of NHS Dorset Integrated Care System, an organisation which comprises representatives from the NHS, local councils and voluntary groups, all of which are working in partnership to improve the health and well-being of people in Dorset. Also at the meeting will be Dawn Dawson of Dorset Healthcare. Residents are being encouraged to put forward any questions they may have in advance of the event, and the deadline for submitting a question is Monday. That's a couple of days' time, Monday, February the 6th, and only those made in advance will be addressed at the meeting. Now, if you wish to go to that meeting and you wish to submit a question in advance to be answered on the evening, the email address is office@islandcommunityaction.org.uk. That's office@islandcommunityaction.org.uk. Now, Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue Service is urging local people to take care with open fires in the home after a number of chimney fires over last weekend. Open fires are a warm, welcoming addition to the home, but they do carry risks. And if you have an open fire, you should be careful. And some of the advice they are offering is: always use a fire guard to protect against flying sparks from hot embers. Make sure that embers are properly ate before you leave the property or go to bed. Keep chimneys and flues clean and well maintained. They also say that green or unseasoned wood shouldn't be used, as it smoulders with long burning embers and produces a lot of creosote and not much heat. Also, they say that build-up of creosote in chimney or flue can become highly flammable and dangerous, and this is some of the causes of chimney fires. You should also avoid burning painted, coated or treated woods, as these can release harmful gases. Another danger is the storage of wood and other fuels immediately next to a wood-burning stove, as heat can build up and lead to a fire igniting. Blocked or defective chimney flues could also carry the risk of carbon monoxide poisoning, so as well as getting chimney swept, people are encouraged to fit smoke alarms and carbon monoxide detectors in their homes. Now, if you need any further information on about keeping homes warm and safe this winter, you can go along to the Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue website at www.dwfire.org.uk/save-safe. That's www.dwfire.org.uk/save-safe. Now, Dorset's Suicide Prevention Group is launching a new campaign highlighting the wide range of mental health support available to children and young people in Dorset. A recent survey carried out by Dorset Youth found that over 40% of young people in Dorset either didn't know or weren't sure how to access mental health advice. To tackle this, Dorset Suicide Prevention Group is launching a new campaign for Children's Mental Health Week, which runs from this coming Monday, from the 6th to the 12th of February, highlighting the wide range of mental health support available to children and young people in Dorset. This includes a 24/7 crisis support, NHS services and support provided by local charities such as Dorset Mind and the Dorset Mental Health Forum. The new Are You OK campaign will use social media and digital channels to highlight the different ways young people can access mental health support via phone, text, online or in person, and promote a shareable graphic containing information on support which can be saved on a mobile phone. In addition, the campaign will signpost young people to Dorset Youth's new 0 to 25 Knowledge Hub, which includes information on a wide range of mental health and wellbeing support, searchable by age and area. Now, the link for that is www.dorsetyouth.com www.dorsetyouth.com/mental-health. Nice and easy to remember that one. www.dorsetyouth.com/mental-health. And if you want to find out more about the Are You OK campaign, the website for that is www.publichealthdorset.org.uk/RUOK. Just as it sounds, RUOK. That's good information there available to people who need that help. Now, the government set out on Thursday this week how it plans to roll out changes to the children's social care system in England, following a major independent review published last year, led by John McAllister alongside the Child Safeguarding Practice Review Panel into the tragic murders of Arthur Limbono Hughes and Star Hobson. And that led to the Competition and Markets Authority. That was led by the Competition and Markets Authority. Responding to the plan's adoption, UK Chief Executive Emily Firth said, "We welcome the principles in the plan, such as the focus on early support and investment in kinship and foster care in order to keep families together wherever we can. Investment in social care workforce is also very welcome, allowing social workers to spend more time with families. But there is a mountain to climb to ensure every child gets the love and support they need throughout childhood. There is an urgent need for more investment in children's social care, particularly given the impact of the global pandemic and the current cost of living crisis on children and families." Now, the plan commits £200 million to be spent on the reforms, which falls well short of the review's recommendation, which was £2 billion over the next 5 years, meaning many of the plan's ambitions will have to wait until the next round of government spending review. Now, Dorset's new Chief Constable has promised that she will not be ripping up existing policing plans and starting again. Amanda Pearson, who you can see there on the screen, who has lived in Ferndown for the past 12 years, has been confirmed by the county's police and crime panel for the top role in Dorset Police as Chief Constable, and this will see her switching from being temporary Assistant Commissioner with the Metropolitan Police to the new role in Dorset. She has worked for over 29 years in a number of forces, including tiny St Helena Island, and is the Chief Constable's national lead for stop and search operations, an area where Dorset's figures have in the past been recognised as in need of improvement, disproportionately stopping a high percentage of people from non-white backgrounds. She told the county's police and crime panel at a meeting in Dorset that she wanted to see no area in Dorset where people felt unsafe. She said, "A lot of hard work and passion has gone into developing a police and crime plan. There is a momentum across the force. There are good plans in place and good people in place committed to delivering them. I want to assure you I am not going to turn everything upside down and start again. It's the last thing the staff and the people of Dorset need. We're not in a crisis, we're in a good place with solid foundations," she said. Now, she will replace the current Chief Constable, Scott Chilton, in the role as he moves to Hampshire to take up the role of Chief Constable there. Now, staying with Dorset Police. Dorset Police has launched a new interceptor team to tackle those who use the county's road network to commit crime. The new team of uniformed officers will tackle criminals using our road networks who are involved in crimes such as county lines drug stealing, human trafficking, modern slavery, burglary and vehicle crime. They will also carry out proactive stops of vehicles from out of county where we receive intelligence that they are involved in criminality, such as through automatic number plate activations. In addition, they will also target high-risk road users known as Operation Dragoon targets to ensure the roads are safe for all, complementing the work of our roads policing teams and well-known no-excuse initiatives. The officers will use a mixture of interceptor team marked and unmarked high-performance vehicles to target offenders with the latest high-tech equipment, enabling officers to check various policing systems for intelligence from within the vehicle at the roadside. Now, the first talk of the spring programme of Teas and Talks presented by the Friends of Weymouth Museum will take place a week on Monday the 13th of February. The talk will be held in Hope United Reformed Church at 8 Trinity Street in Weymouth. This talk will look at the life of Thomas Hardy, the many properties he owned at various times in this area, and his central role at the heart of the Protestant Revolution in Dorchester. Steve Fraser, who is the speaker, retired in 2015 as head of classics at the Thomas Hardy School and has written a number of papers on Hardy and the school, some of which have been published in the Proceedings of the Dorset Natural History and Archaeological Society. He's a keen cross-channel sailor. He has more recently published articles in French and English journals on the development of Cherbourg, its breakwater and military harbour. Now, tea and biscuits will be served from 2 p.m. and the talk will begin at 2:30 p.m. That's Monday the 13th of February. Tickets will be available on the door and are £2 for members and of the Friends of the Museum, and £3 for visitors. There we go. If you come with exact change, they will appreciate it, they say. So if you go with the exact money, that will be certainly appreciated on that event. And finally, a mum of 3 from Weymouth is gearing up to plunge 10,000 feet out of a plane to raise awareness of psoriasis. Amy Townsend, 32, from Weymouth, will take to the skies on March the 26th, with funds raised going towards the Psoriasis Association's future research. Amy has suffered with the skin condition which causes painful flaky patches of skin since 2017, and said the past 12 months have seen some of her worst flare-ups. Amy set out to raise £300 for the association, and she's already met her target and passed it well beyond. And with 2 months to go, she would now be very keen to increase her fundraising efforts. She said any funds raised would help future generations live more comfortably with the condition. Amy said, I've thought about doing a skydive for a while and I always seem to put it off. I thought if I do it for a charity, then there's no way I can back out, because then I'd be letting them down. And when it's for a good cause, that means a lot to you. Any money raised will help the association with their research go towards benefiting the future generations and helping them live with psoriasis. Now, if you want to find out more about Amy's skydive and you wish to donate, you can visit it at www.justgiving.com/fundraising/Amy-Townsend. In fact, if you just go to Google and you put in Just Giving and you put Amy Townsend in, I'm sure it will find Amy's Just Giving page for you if you'd like to help her with a donation. Well, that's the end of our headlines in tonight's programme. Now, turning on to other things, we often have items on our news from our emergency services. But have you ever wondered what it's like to make a 999 call, what you will be asked, and what information you will be expected to give? And once you've done that, what happens as a result of the information that you've given, and what happens with the staff behind the scenes? Well, Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue have released a very informative video that answers all those questions. So I thought it was really good and I would share it with you now. And so we're going to hear from Sarah Nell from Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue.
When you make a 999 call, you'll get through to the BT operator first, and they'll ask you what service you require. So the choice is police, fire, ambulance, or the Coast Guard. If you don't say anything, you'll get automatically put through to the police, so you'll need to request the fire service if you want to come through to us. When you get through to fire control, they'll say fire service, and then the first thing they'll want to know is the address wherever the incident is. So make sure you don't give your home address if the incident is somewhere else, and then just really clearly say what is happening right now and why the fire service are required. You should call the fire service if there's a fire, any sign of smoke, any road traffic collisions, people stuck, life risk incidents involving water or animals, chemical incidents, or anything where you're unsure whether it's a fire service incident. You can always just call us and we can let you know whether it's us or someone else who should be attending. Before you make a 999 call, it's really important that you know where you are, because that's the main piece of information that we need, because we can mobilise on an address even if you're still telling us what's happening at the incident. So we really need a postcode or a road name or what 3 words. What 3 words is an app. If you don't have it downloaded already, we can send you a link via text message that you can click on your phone, but it's really useful if you've already got it downloaded and you've already had a play around with it so you know how it works. If you go on to what 3 words, it will show you a map. You can zoom in, there'll be a little person. You can put yourself exactly where you are, and it will give you 3 words, which are a 3 by 3 metre square of where you're standing. And you can pass us those 3 words, which will give us a location. So depending on what you're reporting, we could ask a range of questions. Once we've got the initial location, we'll want to know how many people are involved and what exactly is happening. So if it's a fire, we'll want to know where in the property the fire is or where outside, and how many people are around, whether anyone has been affected by whatever is happening, any chemicals or hazards that are involved, and the best access to the location. If you are panicking, we understand that people don't call 999 every day, so we are used to that, but it's really helpful if you speak slowly, because otherwise we're just going to have to get you to repeat. And especially with unusual road names or unusual words that you're saying, like chemical names, we're going to have to ask you to spell them out for us. So it's really good if you're listening to our questions and you are answering the questions that we're asking you, rather than rambling on just because you're very nervous. When you've given us all of the information, we'll repeat the address to you just to make sure we've got the right place. The fire service will already be on the way, and you can give us any extra information that you want us to pass to the crews when they're en route, so we can pass that extra information via the radio. If we have the ability to stay on the line, we can stay on the line and speak to you and help you to remain calm and give you some additional advice until the fire service arrive. If it's a fire, the information that we would be giving you would be things like to get near a window, to shut doors on the way away from the fire, get yourself and everyone in the house in a room the furthest away, maybe hang something colourful out of the window so that the crews can see where you are, and to get down low on the ground. If it's an on-call station, they're out of the door within 5 minutes, so when they get their alerter and their pager goes off, they leave wherever they are, their house or their place of work, and they're leaving in the fire engine within 5 minutes. If they are a whole-time station where they work every day, then they'll be out of the door within 2 minutes. While we're waiting for the fire engine to arrive, we would usually advise that the caller stay well back from whatever the incident is, but it does depend. So if there are casualties, they might be able to give us casualty information. So that is helpful to us to then tell the ambulance how many people are involved and what's wrong with them. So if they can stand somewhere really visible for when the fire engine arrives, that could potentially be at the roadside or near a gate or an entrance to a property, and flag the crews down so that they know that's the entrance they need to come in using, and then show the crew where the incident is and explain what's happened, and then the crew will take over.
So there we go. So useful advice there from Sarah from Dorset and Wiltshire Fire and Rescue. And I would certainly recommend, if you haven't got it already on your phone, and you've got a smartphone or an iPhone or a Google phone or any of those, an Android phone, go and search for that app, What 3 Words, and make sure you've got it on your phone, because it will locate you to within a 3 metre square, which you can pass on to the ambulance service, the police or the fire service, so they know exactly where you are, particularly if you're out travelling and don't know where you are or what road you're on. Very, very useful. And we will visit What 3 Words in a future programme and tell you all about it if you're not aware of it. There we go. Now, moving on. A batch of exciting ideas have been suggested by staff at Dorset Healthcare. And all of those are designed to improve local services. And they need the public's help to choose the best one. Dorset Healthcare is once again running its Dragon's Den Staff Innovation Competition, with £10,000 available to support proposals which will directly benefit patients, carers and staff. Staff around the Trust have come up with some fantastic projects spanning community and mental health services, and these have been shortlisted to a top 10. Members of the public and fellow NHS staff are now being asked to pick their 3 favourites by 5 o'clock on Friday the 24th of February, with the most popular going through to a Dragon's Den final on the 30th of March. As in the BBC TV show, it will be much friendlier apparently. The finalists will explain their plans in more detail and pitch for cash to make it a reality. The 2022 competition, which attracted more than 1,300 votes, proved to be a bumper one for those entries which reached the final. Along with 2 outright winners, a further 7 projects were provided with additional development funding, bringing the final grant up to almost £25,000. Now we're going to hear about one of last year's winners, a support group which helps people with mild cognitive impairment, which helps also to reduce the risk of dementia. So let's have a look at one of last year's winners, and then we'll come back and tell you about some of the entries this year.
It's targeted at people who have a diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment, and there aren't really many services out there for people that have a diagnosis of mild cognitive impairment. So it's ongoing support for people once they've had a diagnosis, and looking at how they can reduce their overall risk of developing a dementia, which I think is really important for people.
People that are leading the group are friendly and supportive, and certainly have the answers when we ask the questions, and just the general good-natured, thoughtful and helpful support.
Well, first of all, because I'm a lot younger, I was not too sure about the actual group to begin with, whether it would be a good idea and whether I'd kind of fit in. But I actually like it because it's nice and relaxed, and I'm not made to feel stupid for having a bad memory and not being able to work out problems like I used to.
Personally, I think it's a fantastic way of identifying people that have some mild memory problems and enabling them to work out what their risk factors are and work on those in order to prevent sort of dementia and also to delay the onset of dementia, and it gives them an opportunity to talk about these things together and work on their sort of strategies and management, and it also improves their well-being.
For many years we have had people through our service with a diagnosis of MCI, and we haven't had anything to offer these people. Nationally, there's about 16% of people that come through memory assessment services that have a diagnosis of MCI, mild cognitive impairment. So we really wanted to be able to offer something.
People care about people like us, and they're trying their best to find ways to make it easier and better for us to be able to cope with the problems that it raises.
Looked at what was around nationally, what other services were doing, and took the best of that. Also we've got a wide clinical experience within the team, so we used that as well. What do people need, what's necessary, what can we offer?
I probably feel a little bit more confident now to go back into a social environment and actually be able to, just be a human being again, and not worry about the other bits and pieces that go along with it.
We are still in a time where people are very anxious about COVID, so I'm really delighted that we've been able to offer a group in Poole, Bournemouth, Weymouth and now Wareham. We will have another group starting in Poole in November, so I think that's a huge achievement.
The whole group is set up over a number of weeks to look at those factors that people can have an influence on in reducing their risk of dementia. So we talk about people's lifestyle factors, whether it's keeping their hearts healthy, being more active, but also other factors such as their sleep, problems with their hearing, their social contacts, that can all have an impact on whether they go on to develop a dementia.
If you get the opportunity for one of these groups, grab it with both hands, because it's so a nice, relaxing environment where you can actually be yourself and nobody's judgmental.
There we go. So that was one of last year's winners. Now, the panel of dragons this year will be led by the Trust Chair, Andy Willis. And this year's entries include a Sensory Toolkit Library, Arts at Home for Dementia Patients, Aftercare for Healthy Legs for those with leg ulcers, a Stammering Support Initiative, and a yoga clinic, and 5 more besides. Now you can find out about all the entries, have a read about them, and place your votes by going to www.dorsethealthcare.nhs.uk/dragons-den. And I popped along there this afternoon. I read up on all of the the team's entries, and I've placed my 3 votes, and I suggest you do that as well, and I know the teams will very much support your interest in their ideas. Okay, it's now that time in the programme where we go over to our regular contributor Andrew Wright for this week's film review and preview.
Welcome to Wyke Regis TV film review and preview. I'm Andrew Wright. This week, Black Panther Wakanda Forever was released on Disney Plus in IMAX Enhanced and original theatrical widescreen. For those who don't know, Black Panther Wakanda Forever is the sequel to the multi-Oscar nominated 2018 MCU film and takes place in the wake of actor Chadwick Boseman's death and the death of his character T'Challa. The film revolves around the fictional African nation of Wakanda struggling to hold off foreign intervention in the wake of T'Challa's death, only for their newest threat to come from the underwater nation of Talokan. Now, this film has been praised by fans and critics, been nominated for multiple high-profile awards, including Angela Bassett receiving Marvel's first acting award nominations and wins, and was a box office success, with the UK being the second biggest territory. However, I have to disagree with the positive reviews. This was the most bored I have ever been watching a Marvel film. The filmmakers didn't learn from the mistakes of the first Black Panther film, with the film being all style and no substance, with both the script and the soundtrack just not clicking, instead trying to use the fact that the audience is still grieving for Chadwick Boseman, which results in a film that just instead focuses on the least interesting characters of the series, and still can't make them interesting. Angela Bassett's award-winning and Oscar-nominated performance is also severely overhyped, with there only being one moment where the performance truly lived up to the hype. I'm sad to say I gave this film 1.5 stars out of 5, with this being the worst MCU film to date and ending Phase 4 on a low note. This weekend marks the release of the new M. Night Shyamalan thriller Knock at the Cabin. From the legendary twisty director of The Sixth Sense and Split comes an apocalyptic psychological horror film about 2 men and their daughter being taken hostage in their holiday cabin by 4 strangers who demand that one of them must be sacrificed to avert the apocalypse. The film stars Marvel's Dave Bautista alongside Harry Potter's Rupert Grint, as well as actors Jonathan Groff and Ben Aldridge. The film also marks the start of Dave Bautista's dramatic acting career as part of his desire to do more serious and dramatic roles after his exit from Marvel. He was cast after Shyamalan saw his performance in Blade Runner 2049. The film has received positive reviews from critics who label the film as belonging to the upper tier of Shyamalan's films. The film is in cinemas this weekend, courtesy of Universal Pictures. That's all I have for this week, but be sure to check back next week where I will preview the horror movie adaptation of the beloved children's icon, Winnie the Pooh. Now back to Gary in the studios.
Thank you very much, Andrew. And that sounds a bit strange, doesn't it? The horror version of Winnie the Pooh. Wasn't aware there's anything coming out on that front, so I'm sure that will be an interesting one to hear about. Okay, it's now time to get the weekend weather forecast, and we are going over to the Met Office, and this week we are joined by Alex Burkill.
Hello, welcome to your latest weather update from the Met Office on this rather drab Saturday. The reason for the cloudy, dank conditions is because we're currently sat in something called a warm sector, with a warm front out towards the east and a cold front pushing in from the west. Unsurprisingly, going by its name, the warm sector does mean that temperatures are a little bit above average for the time of year, with relatively mild warm air across the bulk of the UK. Notice colder air then feeding in from the northwest behind the cold front as we go through the weekend. That cold front's also going to bring some rain across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland as we go through Saturday afternoon, with some hill snow likely over the Scottish mountains. Elsewhere and across the bulk of England and Wales, it's a cloudy picture with some drizzly rain, and any bright spells will be fairly limited. Temperatures though, like I said, a touch above average for the time of year, so most places getting into double figures, perhaps highs of 12 or 13 Celsius towards the southeast. Turning colder behind that cold front though, and so we are going to see the showers feeding in across parts of Scotland, turning wintry at times, some sleet or snow possible, but they will ease overnight. And that cold front clearing its way southwards as we go through the night, bringing a spell of rain to many places, but it will be generally light. Clear skies then developing as we go through the early hours of Sunday morning, and it's under these clear skies temperatures are going to take quite a drop. The blue colours on the map show where we're likely to see a touch of frost developing, most widespread across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, perhaps Northern England too. Further south, a touch of frost possible first thing on Sunday morning. As we go through Sunday itself, then we have a whacking great big area of high pressure. Could see pressure around 1048, 1049 perhaps. So not quite record breaking for February, but a very high pressure nonetheless. As a result, that will clear that front away towards the south and we'll have largely calm, settled conditions across the bulk of the UK. There'll be plenty of sunshine around, though that sunshine could be quite hazy at times because of some high level cloud. Temperatures are going to be down markedly compared to what we're seeing on Saturday, so you can see these highs, most places staying in single figures, but when you factor in the light winds and the sunshine, it should still feel relatively pleasant. As we go through the end of the day on Sunday, we are going to see some thickening cloud across parts of Scotland and Northern Ireland, so some outbreaks of drizzly rain likely here and wind strengthening here as well. But for England and Wales, we're going to hold on to the clear skies and the light winds, and so we're likely to see some frost forming again as we go through into Monday. Now I'm going to have further updates as we go through the rest of the weekend, so if you are watching on YouTube, it's worth hitting the subscribe button, but there's more information available on the Met Office app, our website, and of course our social media channels.
Thank you very much, Alex, and you can keep up to date with the Met Office on the Met Office website or on their social media, as Alex has just said. Now, looking at the weather locally in Wyke and South Dorset, what does the week ahead have in store for us? Well, it's getting colder again. Now, there was a bit of a rumour that we were going to get a beast from the east. It looks like it will be cold, but perhaps not too beastly, with midweek being the coldest and then it warming up slightly again towards the end of the week. But the good thing, not too much rain, just a chance of rain on Thursday. Sunny spells through the week, much the same as this week. Now let's see what we've got in our What's On section today. We mentioned last week that there will be a harbour history stroll in Weymouth on the 8th. At 10:30, led by Steve Wallace, Senior Archaeologist from Dorset Council. And if you want to book tickets on that, they're available on Eventbrite. So if you go onto Google and search for Eventbrite Dorset History Walk, Weymouth Harbour, you will find details of how to book that. Now, at Weymouth Pavilion this week, we mentioned Shakespeare by the Sea Festival earlier on in the programme. That's on the 8th. 10th of February, the music of Lionel Richie. 16th of February, Spirit of the Dance. 17th of February, Rave On, that music of the 50s and 60s. 19th of February, Sunday night with comedian Rosie Jones. 25th of February, the UK Pink Floyd Experience. And on the 1st of March, another Shakespeare thing, Macbeth, if you're interested in Shakespeare. Now, the box office is 01305 783 225, or all of these things can be booked online, and there's obviously more information available online at weymouthpavilion.com. Turning to the Nose Fort, not this week, but the following week, which is half-term week, there will be World War II week at the fort. So activities for the family and children. Lots going on over the week. They'll be revisiting the 1940s with plenty of family fun activities and entertainment. There'll be NAFI, there'll be evacuee things, and there'll be identifying enemy planes, all sorts of World War II type activities there at the fort. Also, on the weekend of the 25th of February, they will be doing their classified bunker Cold War weekend, where you get the chance to hear the stories of the Nose Fort's Cold War bunker through an immersive guided tour. Springtoberfest is on the 11th of March, where they have their equivalent of Oktoberfest. They've also got a Science Day coming up at the fort on the 19th of March and a wedding fair on the 26th of March. So pop along to the Nose Fort website there for more details on all of those. Now, turning to Arts Reach, they've got Janice Burns and John Doran coming up. Janice Burns and John Doran are an Anglo-Scottish duo who came together after discovering a shared love of traditional music. They find their songs in archives that span the depths of our history, songs that tell vivid stories about the nature of life and our place in the world. Now, they are on Thursday this week, the 9th, 7:30 at Shipton Gorge Village Hall, Saturday the 11th, Iberton Village Hall near Blandford, and Sunday the 12th, Langton Travis Village Hall. Then we've got Fragments Project, a dance company. Fragments tells the intimate story of a young couple who, when faced with what anyone else would describe as a nightmare, learned to fall in love with each other again, piece by piece, memory by memory. This new, uniquely intimate piece of dance theatre literalises the vulnerability, anxiety and helplessness of falling in love, and has been designed to touch on the heartstrings with tender intent. Now, that's on Friday the 10th of February at Holstock Village Hall, Yeovil, and Saturday the 11th of February at Martinstown Village Hall. Again, if you want any information on those, go along to the Arts Reach website. Just put Arts Reach into Google and you will find it, and you'll see those shows and programmes and the venues and all the other stuff that they've got coming up throughout the rest of the year in many of our village locations out and about across Dorset, but many of them not too far from Weymouth if you fancy getting in the car in an evening and going out to see something a little bit different. Now, the Men's Shed we mentioned last week, it's calling for new members. It meets every Saturday from 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. Where they conduct group and individual craft projects. If you want more information on that, it's 07710 893 837. And advance notice, we mentioned this last week as well, the new Weymouth Cider Festival, which will be held on the 28th and 29th of April at Weymouth Pavilion. Church services in Wyke tomorrow are a 9:45 cafe church service at All Saints Church and an 11 a.m. service at St Edmund's Church. There is no 8 o'clock service tomorrow at All Saints Church. Now, turning to our other programmes tonight, in a short while, in sort of 40 minutes, will be our Saturday evening quiz. The quiz starts promptly at 7:30, but the stream will be up before that, so you can find it. Everybody is welcome to that. Excuse me, got a bit of a frog in the throat. Also, Clive Gray, who does a year gardening, has released a February issue, hot off the press. That goes out on Sunday at 4 p.m. and is repeated Friday at 7 p.m. So that's a year gardening with Clive Gray, Sunday at 4 p.m, repeated Friday at 7 p.m, with lots of Clive's plans for the coming year. He'll be sharing with you in his February programme. Moving to traffic and travel, nothing to mention on the railways, although I would say with the current situation with railways and travel, please do check before you travel. But there are some significant roadworks underway in the area, as you may already be aware. The junction of Lane Outs, Rocks Road and Fremantle Road, the roadworks started there this week, and they will be 14 weeks in duration, so got quite a long time to go. There were some initial problems with those this week. It seems to have settled down a little bit. Also, roadworks on Buxton Road, and to give you advance notice, the following week, half-term week, Crossroads in Weymouth will be shut, and there's significant works going on there, as we mentioned earlier in the programme, so there won't even be a cut-through there as well. Also works this week in Radipole Lane and Shrubbery Lane, to do with fibre being installed for telecoms. The works at Morrison's on the Dorset Road continue as well. So quite a bit of disruption around on some of our major routes this week. Well, that brings us towards the end of this evening's programme. Don't forget, if you've got any news for us, any information on events, or any messages you want to get out to the community in Wyke, Regis, Weymouth and beyond, then do send them in to us at news@wykeregis.tv. We will be very pleased to receive them. I hope the rest of this weekend is good for you, and I hope it's a good week ahead. And if you've got a young family and you're looking forward to the following week, start thinking about what you might do in half-term week, and remember what's going on at the nose. And there is that thing that we mentioned from Arts Reach last week. We might remind you of that next weekend. Anyway, have a good week, and I'll be back with you next Saturday at 6 p.m. in the usual slot. I'll see you then. Good night.